Nice to see they have a lot of early damage. And now we get it once again, Biubiu's Lucian. And this was actually a matchup me and you were talking about we expected to see today, but actually in the mid lane, nice to see it come out from Biubiu. Of course, Lucian much stronger in those first 3 levels, going to take the press, the attack. And now it's going to be interesting to see if Biubiu can recreate that performance from up against FPX.
It's an incredibly strong laner, bullies most lanes. Bin might struggle up there, but we'll have to wait and see because so much of that lane is going to be down to the early trades and how well you can position the lane and such like. But down towards the mid lane here, because I'm curious how this Zoe versus Galio matchup goes. It feels like they both just want to clear the wave and get out onto the map.
Yeah, and the thing is, I expect it to be very 2v2 heavy, right? Because Galio has that massive taunt that can set up 4 Graves to come and maybe burn a summoner spell from Zoe and make it so she has to play safely near her turret. Same thing goes for Lee Sin, though. Lee Sin, Zoe, very strong 2v2. I'd say it's a lot more about looking outside of the lane, getting into the river, the enemy jungle, setting up sleepy trouble bubbles for SofM to find that burst onto Weiwei.
It's interesting as well to see in this jungle mid 2v2 that we've talked about, the 2 very different styles here, where Angel is playing a carry and SofM on the Lee Sin to set him up. On the other side, it's Weiwei with Graves to carry, and it's a Galio for Mole to make sure that he can help the jungle.
And I mean, Graves has been Weiwei's most played champion this split, so it's something he's very proficient on. I'm interested to see how they're going to use this to influence the top lane matchup, because Lucian, Jayce, 2 very squishy carries, going to be very snowbally matchup.
It definitely feels like this is going to be a top side focused game here from both squads. We'll see who's going to be able to get the edge of things. It's time to kick off our quarterfinals in game 1. It's time to head onto Summoner's Rift. It is time to get our quarterfinals underway. Victory 5 up against Suning here, with Suning starting us off on the blue side as the higher seed. And it feels like a lot of this is going to be down to the top side of the map, Lyric.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. Like I said, Lucian having a very good laning phase into the Jayce. You have the press attack, very easy to proc, you know, with any of your abilities and then your passive 2 shots. The thing I like about what Bin's doing is you see a lot of Jayces go Conquer in a lot of matchups or Phase Rush, instead going for the Electrocute because, you know, Lucian is a very squishy champion, going to go for those very short burst trades as well. And this signals me to think that Suning are going to play for that top side 2v2 or even 3v3, trying to bring in an Angel or a SwordArt.
I feel like it's so crucial to go for this aggressive rune in the top side as well, because if you don't, Biubiu just has even more room to play with. He has even more opportunity to try and force an all-in. But you guys at home, you're liking V5 right now. Almost 80% of you English fans at home going on the side of V5.
And I do want to say, despite the fact that V5 finished 5th and Suning 4th, V5 actually have a higher win rate in individual games. V5 have a 63% win rate compared to a 59% for Suning, so I feel like the faith is well placed.
But the head-to-head win rate of this split is very much in favor of Suning. They managed to win out the series when these 2 teams faced earlier on in the split. It was a 2-1 win in favor of Suning.
And we go back to the matchup and see, you know, Bin respecting the strong level 1 coming out from Biubiu, and he's going to be able to hit level 2 first right now. So Bin going to have to pay a lot of respect. And we also see that Weiwei is pathing up towards the top side, so it does show, hey, he wants to secure that top side scuttle. He wants to make sure Biubiu has the vision to bully out in this matchup.
Yeah, really good respect coming out from Bin as SwordArt just goes slightly wide on the anchor there. But the level 2 power spike for Lucian is absurd. It is honestly one of the strongest level 2s in the entire game, especially in a solo lane where there's no support to help out. You can definitely find a kill with that press the attack.
Even just the base damage on his Q, it's like 95. It's one of the highest in the game. It's actually really absurd to take a full Lucian combo to the face, but I also like that SofM is at least pathing bot early on, realizing, hey, Bin can absorb the pressure on my first clear, because there is some kill pressure in the bot lane, as we saw from SwordArt throwing out that dredge line. So gonna accept that he has to take the bot side Scuttle Crab because Victory 5 much stronger top side early on, and maybe gonna try to influence that top matchup, you know, at that 4-minute mark when he does go for that recall.
And I'm curious, Lyric, what your expectation is of the mid game here. Is
SofM actually wants to go and contest.
It's going up to the top side. We could have a little bit of a fight on our hands. Weiwei the one on the Scuttle Crab to start things off here. Bear in mind this is a Lee Sin, so if it comes to a smite fight, he should win it out, but the Sonic Wave doesn't quite connect, and it does mean now Weiwei kind of has a bit of a tempo advantage to work with.
Oh, and looks like they're trying to set up a potential dive. Bin isn't very low.
Oh my goodness. In comes the TP from Mole. Bin starts onto Biubiu, but he knows he can't get out of this one. Not even going to flash, and that's first blood for Mole.
And great to see from V5 because early on in the split, they never played around topside. It is definitely a card they added to their arsenal more recently, especially with Biubiu able to play on this Lucian, which, let's remember, has been buffed this patch. Great to see.
Beautiful stuff, and it's Mole that gets that first blood as well. Mole has so much presence on this team to set everybody else up, but getting an early kill on Galio means you can influence the game so much more heavily.
Yeah, so he's going to get to that point where hopefully he can get a proto belt pretty early on, be able to clear those waves quite easily and start making those side lane plays with his ultimate. Now I'm interested to see what Weiwei will do from here because the wave top is bouncing back in favor of Biubiu, so we could see them set up for another potential gank. But we need to remember, Lucian Graves, no hard CC between them, so not going to be that easy if Bin does respect. He also still does have his flash because he didn't burn that during the dive.
So Angel going to use a teleport that he found off of a minion there. Still has his teleport available. So Angel thanking his lucky stars. So already had teleport advantage because Mole used the teleport to make the play on the top side. And then gets a bonus teleport as well, so he still gets to keep his CS advantage.
I'm also really surprised that he's going for the cooldown boots. It's not something you typically see on Zoe. Usually is going for something like Sorcerer's Shoes to maximize that burst, but showing he wants that maximum amount of CDR, wants that maximum wave clear to make sure that Mole can't get out on the map and, you know, affect these other lanes.
Well, the early kill doesn't seem to matter to Bin as we've got to find the bottom side. ppgod is the target, but the magical journey gets him out to safety. Ignite won't be enough. It's going to be Sam D able to heal him up and keep him safe in this bottom lane.
Still, they burned 2 summoners only to burn 1 themselves, and we were talking about how Suning's early dragon rate is so low.
Nice little trade there, Animal.
This might actually be the catalyst for them to be able to use his bot side pressure, look towards Dragon. We see that Zoe, of course, is pushing out Galio at this stage in the game anyway.
And it's important to remember that we expect V5 to be the ones putting their foot down on the pedal in the early game. This is classic V5 play to find themselves advantages early on and start these fights off, because V5, they are one of the fastest teams in the entire LPL.
Yeah, they actually have the fastest average game time, second fastest in win, the fastest in losses, so it shows whether they are ahead or behind, they're always going to put their foot on the gas pedal.
They are going to make sure the pace is going high. Weiwei moving up to the top side once again here.
And it looks like they should have the wave. So Biubiu going for heavy trading to set this one up.
Oh my goodness, Biubiu might just get a solo kill. Bin forced to flash. In comes Mole as well. This is going to be the kill. And the Winds of War gets it. And Weiwei allowing that over to Mole.
Exactly. It's beautiful to see. And this is a very interesting adaptation that Victory 5 have made during playoffs, where against FPX, they gave up the first 2 dragons almost every single time to try to create a gold lead on the opposite side of the map.
This is beautiful stuff from V5 to find themselves the advantage in the early game. They're almost 1,000 gold ahead already at this stage. And so much now of this game is going to be on SofM and SwordArt to set up plays in the mid game, because that's when Suning usually find their advantages to get back into a game.
It's going to be really interesting because both comps work in similar ways and are both obviously playing through burst, right? We have Jayce, Zoe on one side versus a Lucian, Graves, and Jhin on the other. So these fights are all going to be very quick and about who can get that vision set up first to really, you know, abuse the poke coming out from a Zoe, from a Jayce, or if Victory 5 can abuse Suning having to, you know, blind check some vision. Which actually shouldn't be so bad because they have an Ashe.
Yeah, that's true. They do have the Hawk shot to be able to find their ways in. Also, Nautilus just being able to throw a dredge line towards a brush but not at a wall, so that if there's someone there, you hook them in. If not, you check the brush and it's fine. You see ppgod caught out here. But I do want to mention that it feels like there's a lot of pressure on Angel in this game, because if we do end up in these situations where it's all about finding these picks before a fight starts, so much of that is going to be down to Angel performing on this Zoe. And he's against one of the Zoe masters of the LPL.
Yeah, and like you said, it's going to come down a lot to, I feel like, vision control, so Angel can find these good positions to hit those Sleepy Trouble Bubbles over the terrain, set up for max range paddle stars. And, right, we've had a slower game from Suning, but it's what we expected. We saw SofM try to lean around bot side. It gave SwordArt and huanfeng the ability to look for these aggressive trades, and we haven't really seen Suning in a position like this where Bin gets punished so heavily. So this is going to take a bit of a mental reset coming out from Suning, a bit of a change in direction.
Yeah, we'll see how they're going to be able to temper the storm, as Weiwei wants to keep this storm raging, moving up to the top side himself. But Bin, I think, realizes something's up, moves away from the play, puts a ward down onto this Herald, and can just make sure that he's keeping himself safe. SofM over on the top half of the map right now as well. As Mole gets to shove in, maybe looking for a play towards the bottom side.
Especially at this point in time, I'd really like them to just keep heavily playing around top. We already see Weiwei going for his golems right now. Right now, Herald is up. There's no dragon or anything on the bot side of the map. So seeing Weiwei go, clear out his Krugs, make his way through topside river, start having ppgod roam up now, and set up for that Herald play, which actually Suning look like they're going for themselves.
Suning going to start this one off. SofM at least is going to start it off. Because the rest of the squad is on the way. The bottom lane going to be slightly quicker here for Suning.
There's a pretty big item advantage right now, though, 4v5, as Mole already has Proto Belt.
Not if Angel can find himself a pick. Huge damage onto ppgod. There's a hook onto Mole as well as huanfeng can follow up with the damage. V5 bullied out of the play as it begins here. Herald hasn't reset just yet, but now we'll go back as ppgod barely dodges away from the paddle star there. Biubiu trying to move in, but SofM over the wall. Sonic Wave is going to land. Is he going to go for the kick here? Flash on through. That was beautiful. And it's 2-1 now. There's Mole going to go down in the mid lane as well. Weiwei arrives too late, flashes into the play, and now he could be in trouble. Trouble Bubble is going to land, but that's a nice little magical journey to get everyone safe.
And Suning doing a great job of getting the setup. They realize, hey, no one on V5 can actually face check. They're all a bunch of squishy champions, so they control vision first. Angel playing the Zoe great. And then SofM finding the individual outplay that we talked about. That's what we know him for, that individual prowess, and they get 2 kills.
And look, we said it during Champions Select, SofM, he is known for his Lee Sin. It's a career pick for him. It's not just something he's played this split, something he's played his entire life. Angel in a bit of trouble here, but a double flash means he gets out nicely.
Once again, nice play coming out from him, but I really want to walk back and highlight the fact that that there is one of the ways Suning can, start getting ahead, right? They brought their bot lane down first. They're able to control vision. No one's able to walk in. ppgod's already low, like you said. Great counter engage right now coming out from SwordArt with that dredge line. Mole gets bursted right away from all the damage that Suning has, and no one else on the team is able to walk forward.
And it's great to see SwordArt playing well in these fights as well, because SwordArt is one of the players that, across the course of this year, I'm going to pause for a second here as SwordArt going to get his ward down. He's not going to go down to Mole here. He's had a bit of a rough year.
I do want to say for V5, this is one of their scary situations that SwordArt can abuse because, as we said, when V5 start falling behind, they don't stop. They keep pushing their foot on the gas pedal, so if SwordArt can be in prime position to punish with some of these dredge lines, with some of these ultimates, V5 are just going to keep snowballing the gold in the opposite direction.
And like we said it earlier on, these have the fastest win time and the fastest lose time in the LPL. Suning going to be able to clear the wave, though. Biubiu tried to go for the solo kill there.
Bin with double serrated Dirk, though, so all inning on that lethality, just trying to set up a position where he can burst out Biubiu right away. Of course, Biubiu going for that Blade of the Rune King.
Hey, I can understand it, right? You're against an AD carry. The best way to win that fight is just to try and one-shot it.
Yep, I completely agree. But hey, you're not going to get to one-shot anyone because guess what? Weiwei is going to continue to play around topside.
Yeah, Bin's in a lot of trouble once again. Needs to get onto Biubiu. He's tanking the tower. One more shot comes into the skies. And Bin with the outplay. That was gorgeous.
And it was great to see. That's what we talked about with that double-serrated Dirk coming out. Able to just delete Lucian in an instant. And now Suning get both Drakes. They got the Rift Herald. And even on the side of the map where they're losing and getting dove, they're still answering back 1 kill.
That is insane, and it means that that tower won't go down either. Obviously, the Herald was taken earlier on by the side of Suning, so V5 really don't get a whole lot of anything out of this play. It's all going the way of Suning so far as they get 2 Drakes for themselves, and they have the gold lead.
And Mole needs to be careful. SofM has ultimate.
The kick is there. Everything to follow. The Trouble Bubble over the wall from Angel. But the Battlestar misses, unfortunately.
I want to see where they will use Herald, because I think it's best used mid, especially against the Galio, right? Wants to get out of lane and make those global plays. If he's stuck next to his inner turret, that will be quite hard. But Suning have been a team known to get that plating gold on the huanfeng.
huanfeng has, generally speaking, been one of the real premier carries for this team. And bear in mind, he's a rookie talent coming in this year and has looked exceptional. So regularly being some of the highest in team damage percent across the entire league.
The fact that he is one of their prime late game carries, he does have that high damage percent when the team does not facilitate him.
Oh my goodness, the serrated Dirk's doing work at the top lane. Bin finds himself another solo kill here. Weiwei will answer, but Bin is just playing out of his mind.
Exactly, and this was why we highlighted that this could be the difference maker in the matchup. Bin being able to outskill Biubiu, and he took the punishment early on, was playing the 1v2s and 1v3s, now is looking great.
And I want to remind everyone that Biubiu used to be on Suning. Back in spring, it was Bin and Biubiu taking turns on this Suning roster. It was Biubiu that left to join V5, and it was Bin that stuck around. And since, both players have looked a lot better, but even with Weiwei up in this top lane the whole game, it's looking the way of Bin. But Weiwei, speaking of him, he's going to get caught out, CC'd up, but in comes Mole. With the Galio ult, it's going to deter the play here, but SwordArt could be in trouble himself. Used the Tempered Fate, now a stopwatch on top of it as well. Will get out with his life for now. Hooks Mole back in as Bin. Biubiu, sorry, goes down to start the play. Great kick coming out from SofM. And this is all going the way of Suning. Sonic Wave to extend the play as well. Weiwei going to be exhausted by Angel. Suning grabbed themselves another couple of picks.
Yeah, and once again, they set it up with that TP coming in from Bin. They have the confidence that they have the damage to, find the picks they need. Now they're opening up not only a gold lead, not only a dragon lead, but a turret and pressure lead across the map.
Yeah, I believe that was a Herald drop towards the top side, if I'm not mistaken, from SofM. Now they can move into the mid lane as well. With Angel here, Sam D has to be careful. Trouble bubble. Oh my goodness, it lands. There's an Ignite available. Angel can't close the gap, though. They will just settle for the turret.
Also, I don't think this gets easier for V5, because when you're facing this lethality Jayce, you're facing the Zoe on the opposite side, and you have no tanks, you have no frontline to absorb that damage. They're just going to get burst out immediately.
And this is great to see from Suning that they are matching V5 in this early aggression. They're saying, look, we know how you want to play. We know how you get your wins. We're going to play you at your own game.
It's a bit interesting, right? Because V5 were definitely the aggressors very early on. Like we said, the first 5 minutes isn't really a time that Suning themselves look to make plays. But once we did get to around that 8-minute mark, Herald coming up, that's when Suning want to start putting the pressure on, fighting for that Rift Herald, using a better rotation to secure the vision, and that's what all of this has come from. And then Bin himself outplaying on top side numerous times, getting him ahead in this lane matchup.
And we have to take a moment here and talk about SofM, because 2 fights in a row now, he has looked exceptional on this Lucian, setting up not just the initial play, but using those mechanics to extend the fights and to make the play happen more significantly here. As the blue buff started by Suning, V5 looking to contest. SofM going to get the smite though, has the safeguard available, could be in trouble, but collateral damage goes wide from Weiwei. There's a route down onto SwordArt, but it looks like Suning, they get away with this.
And this is a difference maker for me, is the fact that Suning will have a front line. They will have SwordArt who can, tank a lot of this burst damage coming out from the side of V5, and you have no answer coming out from them.
Yeah, and let's just quickly revisit that top lane matchup as well, because Lucian doesn't get to all-in Jayce when he's half an item behind at this point in the game. This is only going to get worse with Biubiu in that top lane, because you can see the gold difference on the left of your screen there.
And it's like you said, right? Lucian's an 80 carry. Jayce is pretty much an assassin at this point, so he's never going to be able to walk forward. And this is Suning's map. I like that Bin's taking this Rift Herald now. The only outer turret left open is that one in bot lane, but they probably shouldn't even need it. It's already so low.
I love how much the Angel is playing with fire on this Zoe. That's twice now where we've seen him just barely get out of these tight situations, but get out he has. SwordArt might not be so lucky, but the stun doesn't hit from ppgod, and now maybe SwordArt can turn this one around, although Mole's coming in through the magical journey. This could be the moment for V5 to turn the game around. They get one pick for themselves as huanfeng arrives. Needs to be cautious how far forward he steps, but Bin is here as well. Doesn't look like Suning want this play to end just yet.
The good thing for V5 is they actually didn't burn that many ultimates to make that play. We still have Sam D, Mole, and Weiwei's ultimates available, so they should be able to take this Ocean Drake uncontested.
SofM is up, but he's not going to go for the steal here. This is going to be Ocean Drake now for V5.
One thing we need to keep our eyes on from this point onward is Bin, because Bin has that Rift Herald. He's going to consistently be split pushing. And as I mentioned earlier, up against EDG, when Xiaoshun got massive on the Camille, V5 didn't know how to answer, because V5 are a team that tends to overload one side of the map with 5 members to guarantee pressure. And when there is a split push threat like this Jayce, they're not going to have a great way to answer.
So what is the potential answer from the side of V5? What do they do next to try and find their way into this game? Because to me, it seems like this Bard might be the window to the victory.
Exactly. The Bard is definitely the key, and it also goes to that overloading of one side to where we need to see 3-4 members committed down to either where Angel is or where Bin is. We throw out the Tempered Fate, we get a pick, and that's how we start to inch our way back into the game.
See if V5 have what it takes to come back. But I want to reiterate that this is a team that doesn't have that many comeback wins. They win fast, they lose fast. This is a team that thrives from snowballing. And here in game one, it feels like Suning so far know the answer to the squad, but we're not done just yet. It's only a 3,000 gold lead right now. The question is, what more can happen? It's been going to drop the Herald in this bottom lane, but nice Tempered Fate coming out from ppgod to keep the tower safe. But with Angel arriving as well as a minion wave, they might be able to get it anyway. 3 strong for Suning in the mid lane. Curtain call onto SofM to try and force an engage here. Fourth shot goes in, but it's not too much damage. SofM gets out. And
they have no one to go in to set up a big ulti play coming in from Mole, so Suning still the ones to benefit getting that bot side turret. And now we're at a 4K gold lead for Suning.
This is just beautiful to watch from Suning, honestly, and I think a surprising start to the series for a lot of fans at home. This is going to be another tier 2 going down in the mid lane, but V5 want to make this one happen. Mole trying to get into the fray, but he's kicked out of his own ultimate, battered around and taken down. Suning with the first kill of the fight. They can keep this going all day long. Biubiu trying to do some damage, but the whole squad is Suning tanking it as a team.
Exactly, and ultimately, the pick doesn't really mean too much because there's no objective to transition into, but still getting more gold in your pocket, going to pick up more items. And as we said, scaling definitely in the favor of Suning.
And I think the important thing about this pick is not necessarily the kill for Suning, it's the denial of an engage from V5.
Yep, and once again, in my mind, V5 definitely came in as favorites despite Suning being the higher seed, so seeing such decisive gameplay coming out from Suning, taking away a lot of the key power picks in that Ashe and Zoe, and then beating V5 at their own game.
And you know what? Angel knows what league he's in. Look at his items. He's got his Ludens, and he's got himself a Soul Stealer. He's got 5 sacks so far, so he's not going to be popping off just yet, but this is something Mole does, this is something Knight does, this is something every single mid laner in the LPL seems to do.
And now it's all going to be about getting a bit of vision down for that Baron, despite neither team should be looking for that one this early on. Just getting some topside vision, waiting out that 2-minute window, and then transitioning into that next Ocean Drake. The good thing about Suning is their comp definitely does quite well in sieges. They have a ton of poke coming out, so if they do get set up either in front of that mid or top side turret, they can do a lot of work.
I want to quickly mention that Duskblade as well that's come through for the side of Bin, because that is a massive power spike for any lethality user. It does insane damage, especially when you've been in Fog of War. Jayce, that's exactly what he wants to do. He wants to blast you out of Fog of War, so the Duskblade going to do a huge amount of work with the shockwaves. Angel able to face check on this Zoe and get some vision as Weiwei and Mole pushed away.
And it goes back to what we were just saying, right? They want to control vision around top side, you know, set up to find any picks in top side jungle, make sure no Baron shenanigans are going to come out, and definitely going to be a slower paced game for the next minute. But we already see recalls coming out from SwordArt and SofM, so now it's going to be about getting that dragon set up. And we've already mentioned many times, right? Zoe coming out, the Jayce, you just talked about the Duskblade. The poke is going to be so hard for V5 to deal with, and I'm not sure how they're going to be able to get anywhere close to River.
Yeah, it feels like this is about an explosive fight for V5. They need to find some kind of miracle engage where Mole can get into the middle of everyone, get a multi-man taunt, get that CC out. We need ppgod with a great Tempered Fate so that Sam D and Biubiu can run around this fight getting their autos.
The problem is I don't even know how they would walk into their bottom side jungle, right? Because whoever you send in is just going to get blown up instantly. So that's why it looks like we're seeing V5 make this adaptation of realizing, hey, actually we can't face check our jungle. We can't... Ooh, ppgod?
ppgod's going to be okay. That was a close one, though. Not ideal for him. It's going to be one tower taken here on the side of V5 on the top side, but Suning just say, hey, look, if you're going to split push on the top side of the map, we're going to take this Drake. We might just take more towers as well.
Yeah, and again, I can understand what V5 want to do, but Suning definitely feel fine with, even if they do end up losing this turret, right? They're going to get the third Drake. They're going to be on sole point. They're still going to be the ones in sole possession of the map.
So Ocean Drake is going to go the way of Suning here, no contest whatsoever. But Angel might have been found. He is on the Zoe, not the most mobile champion, but gets out with his life. Nice trouble bubble onto Weiwei. SwordArt might not be so lucky, but an instant flash. I like the respect coming out from SwordArt there.
Me too, because the only ways that V5 finds picks are instances like that, where Suning just walk into you, not thinking you'd be there, assuming you had recalled. Because at this point in the game, unless Suning give you that golden opportunity, they give you the golden Tempered Fate, I don't feel like V5 have a proactive way of putting themselves back into the game.
And I want to point something out on the scoreboard as well here, because look at huanfeng's items. Usually we almost always see the Hurricane, but understanding that this is not a game for team fighting here for Suning. This is a game for snowballing and picking and finding those opportunities. So it just says, look, I just need to not die. That is the goal.
Yeah, and right, it's all about burst for both sides, really. It's all about finding that collateral damage from Weiwei with the forward shot from SamD after Mole set you up with a beautiful time. This isn't about long, extended fights for either side.
So now V5 going to be trying to clear their waves. We've got 4 minutes until this Ocean Soul goes onto the map. And Suning can threaten that one.
It's just going to be the same thing, right? Suning are going to push out mid and top, get vision set up in the enemy topside jungle, try to set up with these long-range picks either from an Enchanted Crystal Arrow or a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and maybe hope to get some chip damage down on top lane inner turret.
So is there something that you want to see Suning doing here to extend their lead, or is this just a matter of playing it cautious? Because, like, let's be honest, we know Suning are more than happy to just play things slow and play it cautious, play towards their win conditions.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's any reason to gamble on anything like maybe a cheeky Baron. Just get vision set up, get that chip damage down, because your comp's in such a great position to punish the enemy, even while they're answering waves over terrain like this, right? We have the volleys coming out from huanfeng. Angel can get set up and throw out some Sleepy Trouble Bubbles and Paddle Stars. If any member walks too far forward, you throw out Enchanted Crystal Arrow, you get the kill. So look for that, wait out that 3-minute timer, and then especially once you have Ocean Soul, it just feels... it feels done and dusted at that point.
Yeah, Ocean Soul might just be the final nail here, but Suning, they're going to start things off here and kick off with a Baron. Now, they do have a relatively quick Baron, thanks to the fact that they've got that Ashe to work with, but also they have a lot of damage out of Bin as well. SwordArt happy to block this one. Just going to take all 4 shots. Right, the 4th one does go through onto the Baron here, but 3,000 left. Tempered Fate to stall the play. Suning are going to back off with the Purple Worm because they wanted the fight after all. In goes Mole just to knock upon SwordArt though. SofM with a 3-man kick. And in the meantime, everybody's onto Weiwei. Paddle Star block though. Ignite not quite enough, but the Sonic Wave is. And huanfeng gets the kill credit. Now time for the chase down as V5 try and get out on their top side of the jungle. But once again, Suning find themselves a pick. Mole wants to find a taunt, but it's not happening.
And that's a new dimension to Suning. Suning aren't usually one of our cheekier teams who look for these aggressive plays, setting up for picks with Baron. Their comp is great at turning. They have a Nautilus, they have a Zoe, but they had the confidence this time. They went for it. Great setup. V5 almost got away.
Almost.
Exactly. Almost isn't good enough.
Exactly. And you know what? You say this is not Suning style. Well, their style hasn't worked the last 3 playoffs. Maybe they're changing things up here against V5. Mole trying to contest, trying to get in. The Magical Journey is there. Could look for a taunt. SwordArt goes in, but maybe a little too deep. He's going to be burst on down. Oh, no! Mole gets the smite! It's all falling apart here. Suning desperate now to try and get out of the play, but Biubiu looking for SofM. huanfeng doesn't have anywhere to go on this one. And this is a miracle steal for the side of V5. This is the miracle run for V5. And maybe off of the top of a miracle play. In goes SofM, but Biubiu can take him down in the meantime. huanfeng looks like he might just finish his recall.
That is still absolutely insane. Mole, once again, the man showing up for V5, and heartbreaking for Suning. And this goes to a stat, Ming, you were talking about earlier. Suning have the worst win rate when they have a gold lead at 15 minutes out of all the playoff teams.
And here's the thing, right? We're talking about Suning, and we're talking about the fact that V5 actually has a better game differential across the course of the split, even though Suning's a higher seed. Suning are inconsistent at best. Like, so many of their series went to 3 games this split, even against teams that they should be a comfortable favorite against across the regular season, and these are the reasons why.
Yep, and we see here, V5 knowing, hey, like, they can't just wait and bleed out. They need to go for a big play. Looks like Mole potentially got the taunt off, and that's why he was able to secure that Baron. Either way, they went for the play. They had enough damage to secure it, and just a massive flop from SofM. I don't feel like there's any other way to sell that one. It was a 5v4 round Baron as well.
Yeah, and that's going to hurt for Suning fans, but it's not the end of the game. Let's bear in mind that V5 not in a position where they can particularly siege or anything like that, and this Ocean Drake coming up in 30 seconds. So Suning, they have another opportunity here to try and finish the game, this time through an Ocean Soul.
And the thing is, right, we've already talked about how V5 can't really face check vision, which is what we see Suning trying to play around right now, setting up for Angel and Bin to deal all this damage. So I still feel like Suning should be firmly favored at this stage of the game.
Definitely agree with you there, but you've got to keep your eyes on Mole during these fights. If he can land big taunts, he can do a lot of work. He'll be able to win things out, but huanfeng really punishing him there, making sure that he knows he can't just step in Weiwei. Almost gets one shot by Angel. huanfeng caught out with the Tempered Fate. Does not have his flash available, but he gets out. The taunt doesn't land. It's going to be Bin going down as the first casualty of the fight, and SwordArt follows as well. SofM might be next, but he jumps over the wall with a ward hop, and huanfeng stunning someone under tower, but they're not tanking right now, so V5 win another fight.
Massive ultimate coming out from ppgod. I thought it looked a bit dicey once Bin was able to knock back Mole, so he couldn't get the taunt, but still, they had enough burst, and it goes to this comp, right? Weiwei throws out the collateral damage. We see Samdi being able to hit a forward shot. Of course, Lucian has a ton of burst as well, and the squishy members just instantly deleted.
My goodness, I cannot believe V5 are doing this right now. They were so far behind. This felt like Suning's game to win. And now they have themselves a gold lead for the first time in maybe 20 minutes here. They've got themselves 2 Ocean Drakes. They've got themselves control of this game.
Yeah, and again, so their Baron just timed out, so they're going to lose at least that easy wave control that they had guaranteed, but we're going to reset the map once again. No neutral objective up anywhere now, no Baron, no Dragon, so we're definitely going to be trading waves back and forth, but here comes the Tempered Fate. Notice Bin gets a great knockback. Bin gets instantly deleted by Mole and the rest of the members. Great collateral damage coming out from Weiwei as well. And Angel and SofM just not in a position to really help it and interact with the team in any way.
Yeah, I mean, Bin sacrificed himself for the greater good there, because huanfeng goes down guaranteed if Bin can't get the Thundering Blow, but obviously sacrificed himself to make that play happen. But let's take a quick look at the items across the board, because we mentioned this Magi Soul Stealer in the pocket of Angel. As the Tempered Fate goes wide there. It's only on 5 stacks still. He's not had a single assist since he built that so long ago.
Yeah, and it does go to how V5 have at least tempered themselves, I'd say a bit. Not very much. They're still looking for this aggressive action, but they've been pushed into their own base, Suning not able to find those picks. Another itemization I want to look at is huanfeng. Like you said, already indexing into all those defensive stats, just making sure he isn't able to get bursted out by picking up that Death Stance.
I'd love to see a QSS from him at some point in this game as well, because it feels like Mole getting a taunt onto him is really the game-changing moment in any of these fights. But if he can get a QSS, maybe he can get out of that kind of play.
Yep, for the side of V5, it's all about the taunt and the Tempered Fate coming out from ppgod to set up all the damage they have. For the side of Suning, right, it is a lot more about having that correct setup down to abuse your range advantage with the Zoe and the Jayce.
So now it's Suning on the side that's defending here. They're the ones that are just having to clear waves underneath their turrets. But we are getting to a point in the game where we have to bring up the topic of, you know, Lee Sin, not known for his great late game. Jayce, when he's building pure lethality, not known for his great late game. Is there a point at which V5 just outscales him?
Actually, with how both comps have rounded out, I don't think Jayce's scaling really ever tones down, because you don't have armor coming out on the side of V5 to really dissuade the lethality coming out from the Jayce. Even SofM is going to work as another pseudo frontline to set up for his big damage dealers. It feels like with the build that huanfeng went that you talked about, though, we are lacking a bit of DPS that would be nice, you know, at this stage in the game.
Yeah, that pickaxe, though, from huanfeng, I've got a feeling that might be turning into an Infinity Edge to try and shore up that lack of damage that we quite often see out of Ashes, but it's worth mentioning that she does do decent damage towards the late stages as SofM tries to make a play happen in the mid lane, but Anchor goes wide from SwordArt as well. Now Biubiu trying to return the damage, and it's a shooting gallery from the side of V5. In goes Biubiu to look for a second. The Tempered Fate to extend this play as Mole gets himself a taunt. SofM surely goes down here as one more auto from Biubiu. 2 more kills from the side of V5, and huanfeng getting chased underneath the turret. The taunt won't quite land, just trying to kite out with the slows, but Weiwei's there. The stun from ppgod, and oh my goodness, have they found themselves an ace? This is all going the way of V5. I cannot believe they've made this comeback happen. Wei charging on in. As Angel, he's got to try and make the miracle happen. Finds one for himself. Almost finds the second one. The minions might just do it here. Samdi desperately life-stealing. And he somehow survives.
And it should be a massive comeback win for the side of Suning. We still have 15 seconds on SofM.
This is insane. V5 might just have found themselves game 1 here, and not in the way that you ever expect V5 to win a game. This is a team that snowballs, but they make the miracle plays in the mid game, and they find themselves game 1.
And again, like